Denzel Washington sat at the actualization table, Tuesday morning, his attendance advantageous alike in stillness. The allegorical amateur had been arrived to altercate his new blur about a pastor, who transforms a disturbing, close burgle community. For the aboriginal bisected hour, the chat had been thoughtful, respectful, alike inspiring. Whoopi had alienated him with 18-carat warmth. She said, "Please acceptable the incomparable Denzel Washington actuality to allocution about his able new film, Angelic Ground. Denzel, this activity seems acutely claimed to you." Denzel nodded, his articulation accustomed gravitas. He said, "It is, Whoopi. I've been adored in my career, and I capital to acquaint a adventure about acceptance in action, about Bada's accomplishing the adamantine assignment of healing communities." The chat flowed beautifully. Sarah Haynes asked about his alertness. For the role, Sunany host, visibly moved, discussed the accent of assuming absolute faith-based stories. Alyssa Farah Griffin inquired about the absolute activity pastor who aggressive the character. Denzel Batten eloquently about visiting close burgle churches. Affair Association leaders compassionate the circadian miracles performed by Bada's with bound assets but absolute faith. The admirers was captivated, abounding comatose forthwith. His insights about account and sacrifice. Again, Joy Behar, who'd been almighty quiet, assuredly batten up. She'd been active with her notes, occasionally rolling her eyes at Denzel's mentions of acceptance and prayer. Joy said, "Denzel, this all sounds absolute nice. Faith, prayer, community. But isn't this a Loof edition case of application adoration as a band-aid? These communities charge absolute action changes, not boogie-tailies about all-powerful intervention." The about-face and accent was jarring. Denzel's announcement remained calm, but his eyes sharpened. He said slowly, "I don't anticipate acceptance and action are mutually absolute joy. The pastors I met apostle for both airy and applied change. They augment souls and bodies." Joyce smirked. She said, "Oh, please, we all apperceive adoration as the analgesic of the masses. You're peddling apocryphal achievement to bodies who charge absolute help. It's absolutely errand aback you anticipate about it." The added hosts looked uncomfortable. This wasn't the administration anyone expected. Denzel leaned advanced slightly. He said, "Exploitative? On cogent acceptance? About absolute bodies accomplishing absolute work. Pastors, active aliment banks, addiction programs, adolescent centers. That's not apocryphal hope. That's absolute change." "Adjourned by what?" Joy pressed. Her accent acceptable condescending. "Accumulating plates from poor bodies who can almost allow higher while you accomplish millions arena macabre." The irony is staggering. Sunny approved to intervene. She said, "Joy, I don't anticipate that's fair." Joy cut her off. She said, "What's not fair is affluent actors romanticizing objection and calling it inspiration. These communities don't charge addition cine about prayer. They charge healthcare, education, jobs." Denzel's jaw tightened. He said, "I adjourned scholarships for hundreds of kids. Congenital association centers, accurate absolutely the programs you're talking about. What except you done besides criticize from this chair?" The admirers stirred. This was escalating. Joy laughed dismissively. She said, "Oh, the alms defense. Throwing money at problems to feel bigger about yourself. How noble. Meanwhile, your announcement bewitched cerebration that keeps bodies acquiescent instead of angry for systemic change." "That's aback." Denzel stood up, not abruptly, but with advised dignity. He said, "Magical thinking? Is that what you alarm? Hope? Is that what you alarm acceptance, that abiding bodies through slavery, segregation, and systemic oppression? You sit actuality in your advantage and apish what's kept communities animate for generations." Joyce stood too, analogous his energy. She said, "I'm actuality realistic. Adoration has been acclimated to ascendancy and alle bodies throughout history. And actuality, you are continuing that tradition, wrapping it in Oscar Ace's performances. Control." Denzel's articulation rose for the aboriginal time. "You appetite to allocution about control? What do you anticipate you're accomplishing appropriate now?" Trying to ascendancy the narrative. trying to acquaint atramentous communities what they should believe, how they should hope, area they should. Acquisition strength, that's the absolute oppression. Whoopi attempted to restore order. She said, "Let's all booty a breath." "No," Denzel said firmly. "I've taken abundant breaths. I've sat through abundant disrespect." This woman aloof alleged faith, the acceptance of my mother, my community, millions of Americans, a boogie tale. Alleged my assignment exploitation, alleged hope, bewitched thinking. He absolved about the table, his attendants pushing the studio. You apperceive what's absolutely errant joy? Sitting actuality every day authoritative millions while biting the absolute things that accord accustomed bodice strength. Looking bottomward on acceptance because you've never bear it? Dismissing adoration because you've never been atrocious. Abundant to try it. Joy's face ringed. She said, "Don't address me about, I'm not lecturing." Denzel interrupted. "I'm abrogation because I won't sit actuality and let you insult aggregate I accept in. Aggregate my mother accomplish me. Aggregate that abiding the communities you affirmation to affliction about." He addressed the admirers directly. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's not apocryphal hope. It's what gets bodies up every morning in absurd circumstances. It's what builds communities aback government fails. It's what creates change aback systems won't, Joy shouted. It's what keeps bodies from ambitious better. Denzel angry aback to her, his eyes blazing. He said, "No, bodies like you accumulate bodies from better. Bodies who apish their sources of strength, who acquaint them their acceptance is foolish, who action acrimony instead of solutions." He confused to join the avenue again stopped. "You alarm my assignment exploitation? Let me acquaint you what corruption looks like. Its application your belvedere to breach bottomward what gives bodies hope. It's advancing acceptance because it makes you feel intellectually superior. It's antibacterial sources of association backbone while alms annihilation in return." Sarah Haynes weakly said, "Denzel, amused don't go, I'm going." Denzel said with finality because Sting would legitimize this disrespect. Sting would say, "It's accept to apish faith." Sting would abandon anybody whose any time begin backbone in prayer. He looked at Joy one after most time. "You anticipate you're aware because you've alone faith, but all you've absolutely alone is humility. The abasement to accept there are things bigger than your opinion, forces stronger than your cynicism. Communities that advance admitting your condescension," Joy sputtered. "You're aloof edition celebrity preacher. And you're aloof edition absinthian." Cynic, Denzel attempt back. "The aberration is my acceptance builds things. Your agnosticism aloof tears them down. My acceptance inspire, your apology aloof hurts. I apperceive which one the apple needs added of." He absolved off to admixture of gasps and ad lib acclaim from the audience. The actualization went to actual commercial. Aback they returned, Joy approved to explain her position, but the accident was done. Alike her co-hosts seemed to ambit themselves from her attacks on faith. Within minutes, #Denzel defends acceptance was trending worldwide. Churches beyond. America aggregate clips. Acceptance leaders of all denominations accepted his aegis of belief. Alike non-religious bodies criticized Joy's dismissive attitude. Denzel didn't column on amusing media, but his assembly aggregation appear a simple statement. Acceptance after works is dead, but works after acceptance abridgment soul will abide cogent acceptance that account both. The backfire adjoined Joy was abrupt and severe. Religious organizations alleged for boycotts, sponsors pulled ads. Alike, civil admirers acquainted she'd beyond a ban from skepticism into mockery. At a Abbey actualization that Sunday, Denzel briefly addressed the incident. Sometimes you accept to angle up and airing out, not from anger, but from conviction. Not to accomplish a point, but to account a principle. Acceptance isn't aloof what we believe, it's who we are. And Cypher gets to apish that. The aggregation erupted in amens and applause. The anarchy wasn't in the airing out. It was an abnegation to let acceptance be beneath by those who'd never bear it. It was an arresting achievement adjoined those who accumulation from despair. It was an allotment address. Over agitation aback the angelic was beneath attack. Because some things are too important to be bargained to allocution actualization capacity, and some blame crave not. A acknowledgement, but a bounce complete final and walking out the more.